Hi Vibrant Souls, welcome or welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is Vibrant Soul Tarot, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back my Vibrant Soul tribe. It's always a pleasure to have you guys here. So today's pick a card reading, we are going to be getting messages from your inner light and your inner shadow, and we will be seeing what these messages are, why are they coming up for you, and my intention for this reading is just to offer some sort of, whether it's insights or you can call it spiritual guidance, or just to be a helpful tool for you to either better understand yourself at this time or what's going on within you at this time, or maybe to better understand yourself going through a specific situation. I hope that's making sense, but it's going to be different for every single one of you guys. And speaking of every single one of you guys, we all have a light side and we all have a shadow side, and there's nothing to be ashamed of from either or, whatever these messages may be. So I would like for you guys to go in here with a judgment-free zone of yourself, okay? But other than that, like I said, this is hopefully just some spiritual guidance to help you along your way or for a situation. So we're going to see, because I haven't even done these messages yet, so I really have no idea why or what they are going to be, which makes me pretty excited. So we're going to look at these 3 piles to choose from. I know it may look like there's 6 piles because there's 6 cards, but for each pile you have a sun and a moon from each tarot deck, and then you also have a crystal at the top to choose from. So you can pick whichever one you feel most drawn to, whether it's the art in the tarot or the crystal, or you just have this really pulling feeling of you wanting to check out a specific pile. Whatever it is, if you're also drawn to multiple piles or all 3, that's okay too. That's normal. Just don't judge it, trust yourself, and do whatever feels right to you. Even if you want to watch some and then save it for later, another pile could come back around at another time. You know, there's no right or wrong way to do this. But okay, let's go ahead and look and see what we have. So this right here is going to be pile number 1. We have this sun and moon from the Flower Child tarot deck. And for the stone on top, we have this really cool labradorite spider. And then for pile number 2, the sun and moon duo is from Ascension Tarot. I don't know why every time it's time to say what deck it is, my brain goes boop, but then it comes back eventually. I don't know if anyone else relates to that. But we have the Ascension Tarot, and for the crystal on the top, we have an aura-coated Merkaba stone. And then last but not least, for pile number 3 here, this sun and moon combo is from the Tarot of the Divine deck. And for the crystal, we have this clear quartz pyramid. So like I said before, you can pick whatever pile or piles you feel most drawn to. If you need a little bit more time to sit with it, you can pause the video here too. Like I said, do whatever you need, do whatever you want to do. When you do have your pile selected, I will post the timestamps for each one in the description box below for your convenience as always. Feel free to check out the description box for an additional message if you'd like a channeled song. It's just like a little add-on to the reading, and you can have it mean to you whatever it means to you. It's one of those things where you can use your intuition with that too, and if you feel like it doesn't resonate with you, that's perfectly okay too. You can just chuck it in the trash. Speaking of description box though, if you have any questions, feel free to skim the description box. I do tend to post frequently asked questions in there, but there's not too much information. So if you do have a question for me, feel free to comment it, and I will try my best to get back to you in a timely manner. Like I said, I'll try my best and not perfect. So forgive me. But yeah, other than that, like I said before, I'm excited to see what these messages are. So I will see you at whatever pile or piles you choose. Bye. Hi pile 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose the beautiful labradorite spider or this particular tarot deck sun and moon combo, you have found the right place. So today we are asking for messages from your inner light and your inner shadow, and we are going to be seeing what's coming up, why is it coming up, and hopefully getting some helpful information for you in whatever it is that you decide to put it towards, or whatever it is that you need to hear it for. Other than that, we're just going to hop straight in. We do have a lot of things we're going to be looking at, so I don't want to waste any time. The only thing that I would say though is that if you feel like it, you don't have to. I would grab a notebook or anything that you would jot down, things that particularly resonate with you, or things that maybe you want to hear later on, like reminders or specific messages that you feel called to, just so you can maybe sort out some things, come back to them at another time, or whatever it is that you want to use them for, really. So as you can see, we have two different sides with pre-pulled oracles, pre-pulled tarot. The reason why we're doing pre-pulled today is because there are a lot of cards, and I'm not trying to have you guys sit here for like half of the reading while I'm shuffling. So hopefully you guys like that. But other than that, this side right here, which would be my left side, we have the light, and the right side we have the shadow messages. So we're going to go ahead and take a look to see what the overall messages are here with the tarot. Then we're going to look at the oracles directly after. So for your light side, the first card that we have for you is the Six of Wands. And for your shadow side, the first card that we have for you, which I covered the nudity, but I feel like it's a little see-through, so sorry about that, guys. But we have the Devil card, which the Devil card is directly linked to the shadow, so that's very on brand, I feel like, for a shadow reading. With the light here, we have the Five of Pentacles as well, and we have the Chariot. So we do have Capricorn and Cancer energy, if that resonates with anyone, but it doesn't have to. And then for the Devil cards, we have more nudity, which is the Three of Cups. And there's nothing wrong with nudity. Bodies are beautiful, but YouTube guidelines does not like it. So, and then we have the Ten of Wands. I almost feel called to start with the shadow here. The Devil being kind of like a generalization. I feel like these are themes specifically tied to what the card can represent. But specifically, if we're looking at it in just the shadow form, I feel like one of the messages from your shadow is it may come through in where in our life we feel very restricted, we feel very restrained, we could feel stuck. This is also tied to our limiting beliefs about ourselves. And it's interesting that we have the Six of Wands right after, because the Six of Wands is about like the success, like overcoming all of these things. And I feel like one of the messages from your light now is they want you to be really proud of yourself. With the Three of Cups and the Devil and the Ten of Wands here, some of you may have wounds that are tied to whether that's being seen, or maybe you've felt like in group settings like ostracized by certain people, or it never feels like it goes that deep. And this could be about your relationships and how you interact with other people. But the Six of Wands here, specifically with the Five of Pentacles, it could also be about being seen. And the Six of Wands being in your light makes me feel like your light is saying you are meant to be seen. You may be somebody who's meant to be in the spotlight or have a lot of attention on you, and it may trigger you at times as well. I do think that these things work together, and that's also very normal here too. But with the Five of Pentacles and the Chariot here, you are moving through any sort of obstacles that you feel are holding you back, right? And I think that you're already kind of working with this shadow energy. But I'm also seeing that with the Five of Pentacles, your light is saying like your insecurities, and like we were talking about the self-limiting beliefs, the doubts in yourselves, maybe even specific struggles that you're going through, whether it be financially or just strictly inward. Your light is saying that is not the truth of who you are and of your being. And with the Chariot card here, you are meant to move through these. The Chariot card can represent, sometimes it does take willpower and it does take strength. and things like that. But the Six of Wands is guaranteeing you overcoming these things and being very successful. Now, at the same time, as you're moving through life and you're moving through these things, we have the Ten of Wands with the Devil card energy. It can feel sometimes very hard. It can feel like we're stuck, and it can feel like we're still carrying all of these things with us. But Spirit is saying, and your light and shadow are saying, the more you work with these energies and the more you work through them, you are lightening your load, and you will overcome these things. Like I said, the Three of Cups, the Six of Wands here is already indicating that you're probably meant to be seen or interact with a lot of people. And I feel like with the Devil card and the Ten of Wands, your shadow may hold a lot of subconscious feelings about yourself that your light is saying, that we already said, just aren't true. And so you are meant to shed these things. You are meant to give unconditional love to these things, and you are meant to move forward, okay? Like I said, this could just be success for you in anything that you're really trying to achieve, because it is a general reading. So even if it's like relationships, because I can also see like maybe this shadow energy can affect the dynamic of your personal relationships as well. Like sometimes we have insecurities in the way that we feel about ourselves can stop us from fully showing up and being fully vulnerable in our day-to-day relationships. But I'm also picking up on another side of this collective where your voice is meant to be heard. Your thoughts are very impactful. And I mean like how you view things, how you see things. And you're somebody who I feel like is supposed to have a ton of support down the line. And maybe even people cheering you on. But that doesn't come 100%, right? Sometimes there's people and things that don't agree with us or don't see us as we truly see ourselves. And sometimes we've been through situations in our life where that has happened, and we didn't even realize that we kind of created a subconscious, like almost like a tape, right? Recording of like, well, I'm not saying that it's true, but we felt a certain way very strongly when that had happened. And now we kind of create this protection or this guard to not feel that way again. But your light is saying that you are safe. It is safe for you to express yourself. It is safe for you to be seen. And when you do that, your shadow may get triggered, but that's also a part of the process here too. So we're going to look at the oracles now. So for your light, we have the Freedom card. It's the duality card. And so we have the trapped side, and then we have the freedom side. So your light is on the freedom side. And for your shadow, we have the darkest night. It's really interesting that we have the freedom card, and then we had the messages of feeling restricted by the devil here as well too. So again, your light is saying that you have the power and the ability to free yourself from anything at this time or in your life that you feel is holding you back. And with the shadow being a very tricky energy, sometimes it can be like invisible chains or invisible shackles, right? And so the darkest night card represents us going through the dark night, whether that's the dark night of the soul or times where these things and these instances are being brought to the surface. And it can feel like sometimes the universe is against us, or sometimes it doesn't want us to win, or it doesn't want us to have those things, or it doesn't want us to succeed. And I feel like one of the main messages coming from your shadow, specifically with this card right here, is that it's almost welcoming you in. It's saying that this is not a punishment when things like this happen. I feel like you're somebody who already does some shadow work, whether that's intentional or unintentional, because I feel like your shadow calls to you a lot. And I feel like I just heard like your shadow like, walk with me, talk with me, which is funny because in the card it's a person that's walking through the desert, but they're also still following this light here. And with this card, it usually signals some sort of initiation. and some sort of process where you are shedding, where you are seemingly in this energy, and like maybe it feels like it's not doing anything, or maybe it feels like it's pointless, but your shadow is saying it's definitely not, and don't fear it. And then I feel like your light is saying on the other side, yeah, there's the freedom on the other side. It's a journey though, and it takes time. I feel like both things are saying have patience, but you will be able to be in an energy, or to be in a place that you are truly, I feel like with this guiding light, like the, almost like we're into like the North Star, I feel like this is someplace that you are destined to be. So for your light, we have transformation. And I'm like giggling because that's so on point. And then for your shadow, we have you are about to shine. Ooh. The you are about to shine too. When we were talking about how, you know, being seen or being in the public eye or just being your truest self can trigger us at the same time. And with the light coming through with the transformation, it feels like your light is saying, like, you are again in this process. You can do it. You will do it. It's another success card. And I like how we do kind of have that journey of that ups and downs as well. I feel like your light is saying you need to believe in yourself, and it's okay to believe in yourself. And sometimes our shadow, it gets touched. It hurts sometimes when we want to have the confidence within ourselves. And these are only things that are trying to tell you about these self-limiting beliefs that aren't true. That's why these things are coming up as well. And all you really have to do is just listen and give yourself unconditional love and acceptance during this time. It's not like you have to go out or really do much. And I know that sometimes it doesn't feel that way, right? Or it feels like it's so complicated. But I just feel like as you're moving through life, as you're going through these things, if you just pay attention to what's coming up for you, pay attention to what it's telling you, pay attention to how you're feeling, even if you don't want to agree with it or believe it yourself, you know what I'm saying? That's all you have to do. And you just kind of have to nourish it and nurture it. And in time, and keep moving forward too. Your light's like, and then still keep moving forward. Like, you don't let it stop you. You don't let it deter you. You just keep going, and you will soon see how much of a transformation you actually do create within yourself. And sometimes our shadow can make us feel helpless and hopeless. And that's normal too. And that's why the light is here to remind you. It may feel like that sometimes, but just because you feel that way or just because you felt that way doesn't mean it's the truth. Your light's like, I am the truth. Your shadow is the guide for you to reach that truth. But yeah, so we have that you are about to be seen, which makes me think that, again, there's something here that's very important tied to your voice, like how you represent yourself, like being seen, the things you have to say, and all of these things. Like, it's very, very important that I feel you embrace these things. And I feel like one of the main keys that I'm seeing here is confidence in yourself. The Six of Wands is like pride in what you have to offer, what you bring to the table, and eventually seeing that there's a lot of people that see that within you too. There's a lot of people that agree with you too. And it's just important that even though there's maybe been people that haven't seen this side of you or don't believe in you, that's not the truth, and that's not meant to stop you. And we all have gone through situations where other people, or just maybe life in general, has made us feel quite literally like worthless and stuff. And the Ten of Wands is saying that we do tend to carry those things, and they are sometimes a burden. Like, sometimes our shadow side and these triggers can feel like such a burden, like such a weight. And with that, all I have to say is you're not going to carry these things for long. All you have to do is just look at it. Which, like I said before too, I think that this is something that this pile naturally does in your life. Because I feel like this, for some reason, I'm picking up on an energy that's very thorough. Like very thorough, like no stone left unturned. Sometimes that can be a great thing, and sometimes that can be hindering as well, depending on how much we feel like we need to control a situation or control an outcome at the same time. So we're gonna move to the next card. Okay, these are not in order. I guess I didn't. Oh, they're right here. I was like, am I missing this card for you guys? Okay, so the card for your shadow is the sheep who wandered and found a different shepherd. Interesting energy for the shadow too, because I feel like this card talks about branching out and finding your people. Again, finding the place where you feel like you belong. And so just pay attention to how our shadow can sometimes hold us back in that sense, how it can limit us as well. Maybe I feel like your shadow, I feel like your shadow loves you a lot, and I feel like it wants to keep you safe. I know sometimes it can feel like it wants to keep us stuck, but it wants to keep you safe. And I feel like once we kind of shift to that perspective, we almost have a broader sense of compassion for it. Instead of trying to fight it, or instead of being like angry at it, it's almost like, okay, like you are here to serve a purpose and things like that. So I just heard initiation again too, the same word, initiation. So that word or that theme is very important. Initiation can be like when we're quite literally walking through the fire, but we're walking through the fires and the flames of our own transformation. We're coming out on the other side. Things that we want, things that we're trying to achieve are on the other side. And so it is a good thing. And I know, like with the light and the shadow, us as humans, we tend to say light good, shadow bad. But there's so much to gain, and there's so much good coming from this process too. It's like, well, a lot of the times we only put meaning on the light because, or we even glamorize shadow work sometimes too, or glamorize the spiritual process. But anyone who's honestly ever been through a true dark night of the soul knows that there's nothing glamorous about it. It can be very intense. It can be very confusing. You can feel very lost. You can feel sometimes helpless, sometimes hopeless. But your light is also here to say that you are still being guided. And we can see that with some of these cards as well too. This armadillo, I believe, is in the dark, but they have the light. You know, this person is walking through the dark, but they have that light. And I feel like your shadow is saying that this is all a part of the process. Now I'm going to go back to the Devil card quickly, because I'm feeling like other things coming through with this, with your shadow too. Like, I think I mentioned that your shadow can be quite tricky because it's things that we're either not fully aware of, or we've forgotten, or we've cast aside. And I'm feeling like with this Devil card energy, there could be a lot of repression coming from your shadow here too. Specifically with the Devil card too, just depending if this resonates, there's suppression of maybe sexual desires a little bit too. And there could be, for some of you, there could be shame surrounding those themes as well too. So if you feel called to kind of look into that a little bit, that can be something for you as well. It could also be affecting your relationships, partnerships, one-on-one relationships, or if you're open to multiple, you know what I'm saying? So something to just think about with that. Okay, so for the light side, we have the one who needs to control, and we have something that is never truly yours. Yeah, definitely the message from your light is saying it's okay to release control. And I feel like with this, it's saying that what is yours will always be yours, and what is not will not. And I feel like the biggest message from these two cards from your light is saying that when we surrender, when we release control, we are doing ourselves a favor by saving our important energy for what it actually needs to be for. Or like you can use your energy now on other things, even if it's just rest. Your light is also saying that rest is important for you too. And sometimes we want to have it all figured out. And both of these themes can also be about venturing into the unknown, right? And both of these things want us to kind of have it all figured out sometimes, but your light is saying that's not always going to be the case. And it's okay to release the control, because you can trust yourself and you can head in any direction you feel guided to. And eventually you're going to have your answers anyways. Like, things will always be shown to you. But I like that it's something that is never truly yours. I feel like your light is also saying that in the most simplest way, nothing truly belongs to us in this physical world besides ourselves. It's making me think of that Mitski, is it Mitski? Yeah, song. It goes like, my love is mine, all mine. And it talks about like, it's not anyone else's. I don't really have anything else, but I have my love, and things like that. And I just heard loosen your grip from your light, and that it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I feel like with the one who needs to control something that is never truly yours, your light is saying like, you're doing enough and you are enough. And I think that's where sometimes the shadow can come into play and want to control and want to know everything, because it may sometimes be overcompensating for when we don't feel like we're doing enough, or when we don't feel like we're enough. But your light is also coming through to say, allow things to move through you. When we kind of release that grip, we open up energetically too. And we allow things to flow through us. And then, like I said, we also kind of protect our energy. But there's also places that you may be limiting yourselves subconsciously, that you are meant to be found at, that you're meant to be seen at. With this, the sheep who wandered and found a different shepherd. Sometimes we stay in our comfort zone, again, as self-preservation or self-protection. But your light is saying, that could also be a form of control as well. And your light is saying, it's okay to trust. It's okay to be free, is what I heard too. Okay. Ooh, so speaking of that, from your shadow side, we have Cancer. And then from your light side, we have Ascendant. I love the Ascendant card because I feel like it's still very on theme for things like that. The Ascendant card from your light talks about being your truest, most authentic self, and not giving, again, any time, energy, or worry to anyone who begs to differ, or who doesn't see that, or like we were talking about, like haters or anything like that. But the Ascendant card, I feel like, is almost, again, ascendant ascending. I don't know why I'm linking those two words. So kind of like rising above, but also being seen and being valued for your true self. And how you feel about yourself is going to be a direct reflection for what you show to the world. And with the Cancer card coming at the same time as the shadow, your shadow is saying, yes, too, like I want to be vulnerable and I want to be open, but sometimes I'm scared. Sometimes I have to develop this armor around me, because people are mean, and people will poke, and people will attack, and people will not see me for who I am, and they'll make me feel bad about myself. And as you know, we were talking about before, we've all been through situations where that has happened. So I'm not saying that that's not true. I'm also validating this shadow aspect. But your light is saying, regardless of that, it's okay to be your 100% most authentic self. In fact, we celebrate that. We love that over here. And it may take time to feel safe. Just like if you're like beginning a new relationship, right? And you're still like testing the waters, and you're still like seeing, you know, if this is somebody who is worth, you know, investing in and things like that. The shadow side can hold us back sometimes longer than what we need to be, or sometimes it can just come randomly too. Like it could be like everything's fine, and then all of a sudden it's like you snap shut because you got triggered and things like that. And again, this is a part of the process. But with the Cancer card, and I feel like your Light card too, the Cancer card can also talk about taking off the armor, but it's okay to carry it with you for when you need it and stuff. It's not like you have to like go cold turkey. I don't know why I'm thinking cold turkey, but like, you know, go out there and leave it all behind and then just be vulnerable, scared, and you know, all of those things. I feel like your shadow wants reassurance too. Well, if we need it, we have it. And it's like, instead of like it subconsciously doing that, your light is like, I'm gonna protect you too. I'm gonna mother you too. I'll be there for you if something happens. I'll be there for you when you're triggered and when you're feeling unsafe and when times are hard and you want to close up and you want to run away. I'll be there for you. Oh my gosh, this is like making me emotional. What is going on? But yeah, I feel like with the Ascendant card in the light aspect too, there's something about attention coming your way. Your light wants you to be confident. Your light wants you to show off and show out. And that doesn't always have to be in an egotistical way. Like, you like what you got, you like who you are, you like what you have to offer, and you can flaunt it, and that's okay. And your light's like also like that will probably resonate with a lot of people, or specific people too, very differently than what your shadow may tell you. Like, speaking of like the insecurities or things like that, your shadow may say, well, they're not gonna like that. Like all the things, I think we said this, right? All the things that we were talking about before. Don't do that because it would cause this effect. And then your ascendant's like, on the contrary, like that negative effect is probably such a small few compared to actually what's gonna happen. And I feel like your light is trying to get you to not listen to the fears, to not listen to those things anymore. And I'm also hearing with the Ascendant card, self-expression. That can be through emotions, that could be through how you look, that could be through any like artistic endeavors, any creative endeavors, or in relationships too, of all kinds. Just being yourself. And I know you probably heard this before, but I still think it's very true that when we are our 100% authentic selves, and authentic doesn't mean like you have to be so unique or like not like anyone else. It just means that you're acting true to how you feel is true for you in that moment, right? And you're doing what feels good to you. And oh God, what was I saying now? Fuck. Maybe that's it. Spirit, what was the message? Oh, thank you, Spirit. Okay, sorry, it kind of took a second. What we were talking about is, you probably heard this before, but like it draws in who's meant for you, and it shoos away who's not. And your light is saying to not take any of the shoes away, not personal, although your shadow may try to do that or do that and stuff, but you are ultimately in charge, and you can remind yourself and you can tell yourself what's true to you and things like that. Although these underlining feelings and these limiting subconscious beliefs can be very, very, very convincing, as long as you just keep reminding yourself that it's just a process. You don't have to believe in that. It's not true, but you feel that way, but you understand why you feel that way. I'm telling you guys, that does something. It's like magic. It does like half the battle too. And it's not like things just vanish, right? But you are transforming them or transmuting certain things at the same time. Okay, why are these like so not in order? Ah, drop that. Okay. For your late card, we have the Queen. Oh, I like that we have the Moon, and we have, I think this is a Lotus here too. Oh, and we have a Snake for transformation as well too. And knowledge. Okay, and then for the same deck for your shadow side, we have Apocalypsis. Again, very shadow coded. And then we have the Nectar. Look at how we have the light and we have the dark. And I feel like we've kind of talked about these themes before too, so I'll just quickly convey, excuse me, what's going on. I definitely feel like the Apocalypsis card can sometimes represent us going through a very challenging time or going through a hard time. Your shadow is saying, that's when I'm the most present, that's when I'm the most potent, is when you're feeling these things, right? And the Nectar with this, and again, how we have the light and the dark, I feel like is doubling down on that message of there's still so much potent energy and beneficial things in the hard times, in the challenging times, in the bad times, in the times where we feel like the least, whether that's the least amount of good or least confident, or the world is just like right now, life is just lifing and it's not fun. There's still so much. And so I feel like your shadow is coming through to say, or remind you specifically, to not only place value on the light and the joy and the good times, that there is value in these times too. And everything is temporary. Nothing is going to last forever. And that goes for both of these things as well. So the more you're like going through this, I feel like the more you're getting this nectar, this vital energy. And it could just be strictly energetic. So don't knock it too. Sometimes our brain wants to not understand something or be like, if I can't see it, or if it's not happening right now, you know, it's not happening. And your shadow side is saying, oh, on the contrary, my friend, it is happening, and it starts energetically too. And then it transforms into the physical as well. Now, I love this Queen energy, and I love it specifically on top of the Ascendant with the light, because this is about your sovereignty. And your light is saying, don't forget that you are in control. Don't forget that you are that bee or that person, depending on gender. And this is all about confidence. And I feel like the Queen is somebody who makes choices for herself and doesn't bow to other opinions, doesn't bow to other people's, I want to say nonsense, if that's how you truly feel about it, whatever it is, right? Doesn't bow to anything like that. The Queen knows who she is, or he, and well, that would be the King, but it's the archetype, okay? So, but the Queen doesn't take off her crown or doesn't bow to anyone. And when it comes to herself and her choices, okay, of course, if you're in relationships and things like that, you know, you give and you take and stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I feel like the main theme with the Queen is self-sovereignty. So other circumstances and other things aren't shaking this Queen's sense of knowing, shaking this Queen's sense of inner self, guidance and inner self-confidence. Now, that's the message from your light. And with all of this transformation energy, don't be upset if something happens in the future, or like something has recently happened and you don't feel that way, because it is, again, a process here too, which is a theme that we're seeing through here. Even the Chariot here with the 5 of Pentacles, we have movement, right? We have you being in one energy or in one state of being or in one place in your life, and then we have you getting the strength and pushing forward and moving that way. Okay, so don't be upset if it doesn't feel like that all the time, but your light is saying that you can definitely get to that place. So believe in yourself. And it's the duality of the messages of the shadow too that also remind you that being in this place is how you get to this place. And soon Or eventually you'll find that the things that feel very detrimental to us at some point in our life feel almost easy eventually. And that is when you truly, truly see the benefits of the transformation here. All right, so the other card from your light is we have move on. And from your shadow, we have choice and we have freedom. I like the move on card for your light because it is saying that you're not going to stay in this place forever. Anything that you feel holds you back or keeps you stuck, or anything, even if this is like old wounds coming through, your light is saying that you are going to be moving on. You have the ability to move on. Movement is good too. Also with this queen energy, anything that is not for you, anything that is not giving you what you feel you deserve, your light is saying don't be afraid to make those choices to move on and to trust as well. And that can also be tied to the one who controls. Now from the shadow side, we have the freedom and choice. Be aware of how sometimes our subconscious, whether this is fears or anything like that coming from beneath, can influence our choices. And this is a tricky one as well. Our shadow selves can definitely be a huge influence on our choices and what we believe we can do, what we believe we can have, and that sort of thing. And I feel like this is honestly just coming to your attention as a reminder. Are we making choices through fear? Are we making choices because this is what feels safe? Are we making choices because we feel we don't believe in ourselves, that we can even have something specific? This is influencing that too. So all you have to do is be aware, and you can get in the driver's seat at any time. That actually reminds me of the Incubus song, Drive, where they talk about realizing how much they actually let fear take the wheel and drive. And then I even think there's a specific lyric in there that says, when I drive myself, my light is found. And so, you see, I'm just kidding. But so when you kind of take back the reins and you ask yourself this, which is all you're doing, is just pointing the light on it. And you're saying, hey, am I making this choice, or am I doing this because of this, because of fear, because of insecurities, or because of how I once felt about myself? Or am I doing this, and what would I choose if I didn't have those things? And you'll see how you'll be like literally redirected as well. And I do like this move on card, as in like, don't forget to, shadow work is very helpful and shadow work is very important, but you don't have to stay there forever. You don't have to focus on it 100% of the time. Once you kind of feel like you've done something, or maybe you've been in there for a little bit, your light is saying, hey, okay, move on now. Do something enjoyable. Now let's put that into action, or you know what I'm saying? Like, and I just feel like the message here in a very freeing sense. It feels very free. It feels very lighthearted. The message here is life goes on. Okay. And so for the light card, we have my home is a peaceful haven. And for the shadow card, we have I release all criticism. So my home is a peaceful haven. It says, I bless my home with love. I put love in every corner, and my home lovingly responds with warmth and comfort. I am at peace. I do think that this can be taken very literally, and I also feel like it can be taken metaphorically as the home is your heart, the home as in yourself, and vice versa. So I do think that your light is saying like, hey, pay attention to like where you spend a lot of your time at, and let's let's make it so where we enjoy it. Like, we like what we look at, we get things that we like. I feel like that's very much like your inner child coming through as well, to speak on that and to say like, yeah, like I like if it lights me up and it brings me joy or something like that. Or like, it also feels really good to take care of your home, to make sure that it's clean and stuff like that. I'm actually in a decluttering phase right now too. And it already does feel better, but I'm like not even halfway done, so I'm kind of like dreading it, but also it's worth it, you know, it's worth it at the end. And so I do feel like with this, it's like blessing all of the parts of you at the same time, and just remembering that it says if you put love in every corner, that can also be in the shadows as well, and your home lovingly responds. And your light wants you to also indulge in, like, it's not always, like we were talking about, it's not always has to be hard and things like that. Like when you're feeling like this is enough right now, then you can like give yourself lots of comfort, indulge in things, you know, and just give yourself that self-acceptance love, even though you are doing those things as well. And something very specific for some of you about your home. Your light is saying, so even if this is like you moving out of your current place and getting another home, your light, I think, is coming through too, is like a sign to say like that's in the future, like you're definitely capable of doing that. And just making sure that wherever you're at, whatever you call home, it really it feels like it to you, or like you can create it, or you can decorate it the way that you feel, or even if it's just like, I know it sounds cliche, but like giving love to yourself and all of those things, making sure that you're still giving yourself the warm and comforts of life, but not fully limiting yourself to where that's all there is if you want more. It's a balance act. It's a tightrope act, right? With the shadow and the light. So for your shadow, I release all criticism. I only give out that which I want to receive in return. My love and acceptance of others is mirrored to me in every moment. I definitely feel like this self-critic is big shadow side energy. And again, it's something that's natural, but I feel like this is just coming up to be aware. The self-critic can always be our doubts. It can be our fears. It could be feelings that make us feel like we're not good enough, rather than a voice telling us. And it can be a voice too. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like this is just reminding you that that is the shadow, and that, again, those things aren't really true. And it is trying to keep you safe. But also, you can tell yourself the opposite too. You can always remind yourself, hey, I am capable of doing this. Hey, I am good enough. Hey, I am worth someone putting in this effort for me, or I do have a lot to offer, and things like that. It can kind of like cancel out that inner critic too. And so you don't always have to listen to it. You don't always have to believe it. And sometimes that's like, that can be the hardest part. Like if you're trying something new, or you're maybe like going out on dates, or you're taking the first steps, or you're, you know, doing a project or putting yourself out there, anything, right? One of the hardest parts is like not listening to the fear. But when you don't listen to the fear, it is so freeing. It can be so freeing. And a lot of the times you realize that the fear was just all in your head, and that things actually work out in our favor. And also you can have an understanding too, that if something doesn't work out, like dating, you know, being like something that's common to, like, you know, you date a lot of people and it doesn't work out, and that's the process, right? And then sometimes that inner critic wants to come through and be like, well, it's because of this, blah, 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 blah. And your light is like, no, put that love inside and remind yourself it didn't work out because it's not supposed to work out. And there's probably something way better out there, and way more enjoyable, that you would actually benefit from. that's another thing too, is sometimes rejections or sometimes things not working out can be our biggest catalyst for freedom. But when we're going through it, it doesn't always feel that way. Like an example, I think I was talking about this a while ago with somebody, and it sounded so crazy coming out of my mouth, but like in a specific relationship, getting cheated on was like one of the best things to ever happen to me. And at the time it didn't feel like that, but as I look back, I was like, wait, like this set me free. This showed me the truth. And you know how they say the truth hurts, but it will set you free. And now I'm like in such a better place. I'm not gonna be freaking miserable. Like all of those things. And I feel like this is important to like this type of energy too, is that sometimes things aren't always what they seem. All right, the last cards here. For your light, we have, I feel envy because I don't feel good enough about myself. Your light is saying it's okay to be confident. And jealousy can be coming from the shadow too. Jealousy is very normal. And usually jealousy is it's covering a belief of, we feel somewhere deep inside that we can't have that. Or we feel somewhere deep inside that whether it's we can't have it, we can't achieve it, we're not good enough for it, and we watch someone else do it or have it and be like, well, jealous of like, and sometimes jealous can mask itself in other ways too, of like, it can be very like, well, I'm not jealous, I'm just like that because they're like that, you know what I'm saying? And it's got layers to it too. But again, no shame. These are just human feelings and human reactions and things like that. But I feel like your light is saying that it's time to embrace your inner confidence, your inner self. You are good enough. You are enough. All of these things we've been kind of saying. I don't know if you've noticed, a very like potent theme here keep coming up. And for the shadow, it says, when I feel insecure, I put on a false mask to hide who I really am. And I feel like these also go hand in hand. And I love that we have that ascendant here too. That ascendant with the Cancer, how we were talking about shielding, and then the ascendant was like showing. And I feel like these are all just things to remember. When we feel insecure, we may act in ways or do things, whether out of self-preservation and self-protection. Remind yourself in every instance, as many times as you have to, is that you are safe. You are here and you are meant to be here. You are meant to shine. You are meant to be seen and you are meant to be celebrated. And anyone else who doesn't see that, who doesn't celebrate that, or who doesn't get along with that program is not meant to be in your life. It's not meant to be in your circle. They're not meant to understand whether that's right now. Maybe you'll come back around, you know what I'm saying? But protect your energy, because honestly, that's none of your business. This is all about you. And I love that. Okay, where are we at now? We are basically done, but I have to say, guys, I told you I was organizing, and I told you I was cleaning, and I found a freaking deck that I made, I don't even know how many freaking years ago. I mean, it has stickers on it, and they're literal Vine stickers. Okay, so let that speak for itself. Vine doesn't even exist anymore. And I just thought it would be fun or funny just to get an ending message or messages. Not going to go in too deep for it or anything like that, but Spirit, what is one last message for my pile one here? Smiles are the currency of the heart. I just heard let your joy shine through as well too, which I know that sounds super corny, but I also used to be a bartender and a server, and I swear to God, like I would go into a shift and I would be like, I don't want to freaking be here, because I remember I would close all the time and it was late nights and I was burnt out, blah 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 blah, right? But when I would get in the zone and like I would put like my customer service mask on and I would start smiling and being nice, I'm not even joking, it honestly made me in a better mood. Like it honestly helped so much. And I feel like this is coming through on this side because it's reminding you that even if you have to fake it a little bit till you make it, it can influence it. It can influence you. And it can influence you on either side, whichever side you decide to act on or exude for a certain amount of time, you will start becoming it. Just like, you know how they say, And it's not every thought that you have is going to manifest. It's what we think over time. It's how we think over time. It's what we choose to believe over time. Time is a big factor, and it starts to become a cycle, right? Or a pattern and things like that. And so Spirit, I think, is just reminding you that, first of all, joy is important and stuff like that. But like, even if you want to just shift your energy, and I'm not saying, maybe not when you're like in a breakdown, like I'm picturing someone like crying their eyes out and then just smiling. You're like, that's not what I'm talking about. But like, maybe if you just want to like wake up in the morning and shift your energy and just give a big smile, even if it's so fake and it feels so unnatural, and just like open up the window and just be like, hello world, and blah blah blah. Like, you might actually realize that you do start to feel like that, and you do start to feel better. Okay, one more message, Spirit, and then we're out of here, guys. Oh, we're not taking all that. I like them talking to it. We're not taking all that. So we have, take time for yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. And, oh, I like this landing on the shadow too. It says, everyone is a form of loving source energy. They just fall away from themselves now and then. I do like that, because that can also be like from your shadow side too. Like, hey, like I'm still love. Hey, I'm still this, but sometimes we just fall away, or sometimes we get neglected, or sometimes we get pushed aside. And this is what comes of it. Okay. It's not here to like destroy you. It actually still is a form of love. Okay, maybe we'll just look at them real fast. It's okay to separate yourself from people and situations you've outgrown. Learn to let things go. Not everything deserves your response. We had that move on from your... And then we have 777. You are magic. Believe in miracles. You literally are one. Don't forget how cool you really are. Difficult choices make wise people. Yeah, sometimes it's not easy doing what you feel is right, or going in a direction that counteracts this energy, right? Sometimes it's not easy. And so doing the hard things, or making that choice to where you're not going to believe these things, or you're not going to lean into this side, is actually very potent. And it's leading you to places where you may have no freaking clue on like how much better it can get. All right. So that is it, pile one. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for allowing me to read for you. Thank you for just being patient with me as well. And thank you for all of the support. Sometimes I take a little long for postings, and then sometimes I randomly come out and post like 4 videos in a week. It's kind of, hey, you never know what you're going to get with me. And I do apologize if some of you guys don't like the consistency. So thank you for being patient. Like I said, thank you to all the support. Thank you to those who like, share, comment. And thank you most of all to my Vibrant Soul Tribe, which is the subscribers. I literally couldn't do it without you. You guys are amazing. Yeah, I just like to show my gratitude for you guys. And other than that, I think that's it. So hopefully I will see you guys in a next reading, or maybe another pile if you felt called to another pile. Maybe if you don't subscribe, or you're not going to check out the readings, I might just randomly see you on your homepage again when you just need another little reading. So maybe that'll happen too. But either way, I'll see you guys there. Bye. Hi pile 2, welcome to your reading. If you chose the aura-coded Merkaba stone here, or if you chose the Ascension Tarot Sun and Moon combo that you saw in the intro, you are at the right place. Honestly, I just looked down like right before I pressed record, and I noticed that there's literal Merkabas on this deck here. So that could be very significant to you at this time. Maybe the symbolism or what they represent can be very significant to you. They can be used as a tool for ascension, or like a symbol for ascension. It can also be the blending of energies, the blending of masculine and feminine energies, or like opposing energies coming together. That kind of makes sense here, the light and the shadow. I did a guided meditation one time where we were visualizing the Merkaba and us inside of it, and it was like a vehicle to get around. I've also heard it called like the chariot, And I've also heard it being a representation of your light body and your spirit and your body too. Like all of these things coming together. So feel free to look it up more too, and to go into that, or like there are the guided meditations if you want to do that, because it seems to be very significant here. Like I said, it represents ascension too. You literally chose the Ascension Tarot. So those types of themes as well. I'm already picking up on too. This is a really, really, really spiritually gifted or very spiritually active pile here. And it makes me think that it makes me think that you guys are upgrading as well. And what I mean by that is that you've probably already done some healing, or you know, you've been into spiritual work and all of that. You probably have a good amount of knowledge about it, and there's upgrading is like the next level type of energy here. I'm just picking up on that for some reason. We're gonna look at the cards and we're gonna get into it because we got a lot to cover and I don't want to dwell. We're probably gonna roll through it at a hopefully decent speed. So as you can see, or if you're watching this podcast style, I'll explain it to you. So on my left side we have the light. This is going to represent the messages from your inner light. And on, wait, did I say this is my right? This is my left. And on my right side we have the messages from your inner shadow. So I'm really interested to see what these are and what's coming up for you and why. So we're going to start with the tarot. So the overall message for your inner light here is the Page of Cups. Ooh, I like the vibrancy of this card. There's also like the artistic energy here too. So some of you may be very artistic or creative. It doesn't have to be literally making art. You can create anything, or you're naturally creating things throughout your life, throughout your day to day. Right? And I feel like your light maybe wants you to focus in on that. Focus in on your creative energy. And the fact that it is the Page of Cups, I feel like your light comes through and shines through a lot as your inner child energy here too. And then for your shadow energy, we have the Hermit here, which this is the card that represents Virgo as well. Okay. The other cards for your light is we have the Two of Cups and we have the Teacher, which is the Hierophant here, which is the Taurus. If that is significant, it does not have to be. We also have for your shadow, we have Ascension. So we have more energy of an Ascension here too. And then we have the Ace of Wands. Okay, so the first thing I'm seeing here too is that a lot of your lessons that you probably learn through your life is through relationships with other people and things like that. It's actually coming through on your light, but I also pick up on like that's how you're able to do, whether it's intentional or unintentional, a lot of shadow work, or you just learn a lot about yourself through relationships and things like that, which is really interesting because we have the Hermit, which is all about that solitude. For the shadow, we have Ascension and the Ace of Wands. So your shadow may be actually calling you at this time. The fact that it is the Hermit card could be like maybe there is your shadow wants you to spend a little time alone. It is that kind of like energy of going within and discovering things about ourselves that we didn't know were there before. I feel like a lot of you are currently kind of in this energy already, so I wouldn't put too much pressure on it. But the fact that the Hermit is coming through as the shadow too, there may be tendencies from this side to escape. There may be tendencies to avoid or completely isolate as well. And if that's not the case for you, then your shadow is, because it is generating, your shadow is calling you to maybe spend a little time alone, or a period of solitude would be very beneficial for you at this time. I love that we have Ascension here, because Ascension is all about literally like rising above. It's about like overcoming, I believe. It says number 20. So this is actually the Judgment card. I thought this was the World card. That's interesting. There's even a Merkaba here. Look at that. How cool. Integration is something that I'm hearing specifically with this, and that's kind of like what we were talking about with the Merkaba, like opposing things. I do feel like you are in a very potent process right now of integrating certain things. The Ace of Wands can represent the light within the dark, and I feel very strongly from this pile that your light side and your dark side like Star Wars, your light side and your shadow side are very much intertwined. They very much work together, and I just feel like, again, this is a pile that is probably very advanced, but your shadow side is coming through with the Hermit to say to make sure that you're not using all that you know and everything like that as a way to avoid finding even deeper truths. Okay, so that can be very tricky as well. So just maybe something to think about, just or let it marinate in there for a little bit, and whatever that means to you, right? I do think that your light is coming through with the Teacher card here to say that you already have a lot of wisdom. You already have a lot of knowledge in your endeavors. And I think the main energy for the Page of Cups is your light. Your light is also saying, don't forget to make time for like joy, creative things, having fun, your inner child, and whatever comes to mind for you, or whatever you feel like you want to do, to do that too. It's not all doom and gloom with the shadow, although shadow work is something that comes up, and it does come up a lot of the times through situations naturally too. But you already have a lot of wisdom and things like that. But at the same time, with this Hermit energy, it's a balance of staying open and being the eternal student too. So we're always learning, we're always growing. And that's why I was kind of picking up on, like, what did I say? Like next stage, or like leveling up or something like that. Cause it's like, oh, if you thought that you knew before, you're gonna know now. Or it's like, maybe you had knowledge in something, but now after this sort of energy clears, or you're working through this sort of energy, you'll have wisdom, which is a key component and a key factor. And I think sometimes we confuse the difference between knowledge and wisdom. One of my favorite quotes, which is a silly quote, but I think it does so much justice for the difference between knowledge and wisdom, is that it goes, knowledge is knowing that tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is knowing to not put tomato in fruit salad. I don't know why that's like stuck with me forever. I love that quote. And I think it does kind of explain on the difference. And so there's something currently happening in your life right now where you're going through a process where I feel like you're going to start getting a lot of like aha moments, or like, okay, this is when I put this knowledge into practice. This is what that actually meant. I've heard that over and over and over again, like maybe in the spiritual community, but now I feel it. And there's something really important about that. And I think that you're already on a journey, like I said, but I think that your journey is one that may be a lot deeper than, you know, maybe just the next person or the average person. And I think that owning in on that is something that's very important. Like maybe cherishing that, being very proud of that, but not letting it, like I said, overcompensate for things. Like still remaining very humble, still remaining very open is a message that's currently coming through here for you too. So, some of you may be, and again, this may not be for everybody, but some of you may be going through a breakup or a separation with somebody, and there is deep healing and shadow work and self-discovery happening within this too, although it sucks, and I'm not trying to make your feelings or what you're going through any lighter or anything like that, but I feel like with the Ascension here and the Ace of Wands, there's something very potent, and Spirit and your light and your shadow are coming through to say that it's eventually going to be worth it. Like there's something that you're going through that is going to be worth it on the other side. And you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe me, but you may have to see for yourself. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So let's fly through some of these oracles and see what we got. So for your light, we have projections. Ooh, I love the way this card looks. I like gold. And for your shadow, we have deeper than before. Okay. So that's very validating to like the next stage, the next step. Your shadow is coming through to say like this time you're going deeper than ever, deeper than before. There's things to be discovered here, and it's okay to kind of be confused by that sometimes too, because the mental mind is like not good at like piecing that together. You're like, okay, well, what is it? Well, what is it gonna be? And you know what I'm saying? Whereas the spiritual and energetic energy is like, well, it has to be worked through. You have to go through it as well. I heard keep an open mind when it comes to this shadow energy. And keep an open mind because things aren't always so visible, which actually can bring me to the projections. I feel like your light is reminding you that whatever triggers you has it's almost like keying in on that. Like, what is this? Why is this triggering me? And with the projections, I mean, you could be in a process too of unlearning like other people's projections on you. Projections can just be our shadow that we cast upon other people. And I feel like you're a pile that is actually able to look at situations from a place of non-judgment and say, what am I projecting? What am I projecting onto this person? What am I projecting onto this situation? What am I seeing here that may be coming from within? If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? But your light is saying projections are very important at this time. Like basically, the world is how we see it, and sometimes our way of viewing things isn't 100% accurate. But I feel like, again, this is coming through because you're smart enough or mature enough to realize that and know that. I'm also picking up on there's a lot of self-accountability happening in this energy right now. There's a lot of like, okay, I'm not looking at or trying to change anyone else or trying to do anything else. You're like, what's going on with me? And I feel like that's indicative to this energy of your shadow really calling you right now, because I feel like even your light energy is pushing you in trying to get you to look at or go into this energy. This was something that came up in pile 1 too, but I also feel like this deeper than before. They had a different card as well, but I think that they both can represent some sort of initiation here too. So, and with that, I know sometimes if you're going through a tough time, like that can be like super annoying here, but like it's for you, I'm hearing alchemy, which I didn't hear that in pile 1. For you, I'm hearing like, yeah, the alchemy process, conversion. But I was going to say something else too. What was I going to say, Spirit? Oh, that allowing yourself to work through, to move through, brings you higher and more elevated, which in turn attracts better things. And Spirit just says too, like, and you just know yourself more. You know yourself more, you know yourself deeper. You're not gonna fall into the same traps. You're not gonna fall into the same projections, whether that's from other people or coming from within. Like, there's just so much knowledge to gain in your life. And I feel like you're somebody who whose soul has such a thirst for knowledge. And the thing about the wisdom too, I feel like your light and your shadow want to remind you that usually wisdom comes from experience too. So don't be afraid of negative experiences. Don't shy away from negative experiences. Question them, question yourselves, how you're feeling, pay attention to those things. They all have a tremendous amount of wisdom for you, and sometimes all you got to do is sit with it. Okay, we have nourish the shadow, which actually this talk is about sitting with it, and it talks about, again, us being triggered. But I love the gentleness of the nourish the shadow energy, and again, I just noticed it's coming from the light side, which I told you, I was like, I feel like your light side is like pushing you towards the shadow side. Usually in readings, like they'll have like very different energies, very different messages, like your light is saying blah, 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 and then your shadow saying blah, 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 blah. But like these are kind of very much integrated, which could also represent that you are somebody with all the Merkaba and everything like that. You already have a very good integrated sense of self or integrated shadow with your light. And I think that you understand that these things work together and coexist in balance. And so you're not looking at the light side as like, oh, this is good, this is just good. And then you're not looking at the shadow side as this is bad, this is evil, blah, blah, blah. Like you have a general understanding of they're both very important. And there's not one that's better than the other, although we tend to enjoy the light side more because the experiences are better and easier and stuff. But going further in this side gets you higher in this side too. So again, it's like a ladder and they work together. All right. Okay, so the nourish the shadow. When you are triggered, when something does happen, when things fall apart, if a breakup happens and things like that, your light is saying like all your shadow is really asking for right now is just love and support. Your first initial reaction, and this is a normal initial reaction, this is a human initial reaction, is to run. Is to say, oh, that hurt me, I need to run away. I need to find some sort of validation. I need to change this feeling. I need to stop it. I need something physical. I need someone else's validation. You know what I'm saying? And your light is saying, all you need to do at this time or when this happens is sit with it and remind yourself, hey, I know this sucks, but I'm here with you. And you're talking to your inner self. And that is why I think your light is also connected to inner child and inner child healing. But you're like, hey, I'm with you. I feel this. I'm not going to abandon you right now. We will get through this. Just give it that unconditional love and let it be seen. And it feels like a lot of time we have to do much more. No, we have to find like the answer. We have to solve this riddle and blah, blah, blah. And your light is coming through to say, sweetie, sometimes it's a lot more simpler than that. And all you have to do is just sit with it and the answers will come. The changes will come. You'll become, if that makes sense, you know? And just spend a little time there. And just, sometimes I physically like hug myself too. And I feel like that helps a lot. It feels very safe and it's like a warm embrace. And then it's okay to express any emotions that come out after that too, of like anger, like they're not gonna do this to me anymore, or like, you know, things like that. Like all of that is valid and all of that is part of the process. I feel like there's like a massive shedding happening with this too. And that's also can be a part of like the quote unquote, what we call like the initiation here too. It's just like walking through it, shedding and coming out on the outside feeling lighter, feeling better, having new experiences, having better ones, or knowing that even if experiences don't work out, then basically you're going to be okay because now you're so much stronger. You're like, shit, nothing can knock me off now. Even though that's not always true, but like you have more confidence and safety in this because you're able to work through it. Okay. And I feel like a lot of this you guys already know. Okay, so when I was shuffling, these flipped out, and I think that they flipped out on purpose because I would have just taken the top one and put the rest back, but they definitely tell a story, and so we're gonna see. So we have, oh, I think that's not the order. Okay, we have prayers answered, which is so funny because it's coming from your shadow, and I feel like it's very like dual here, specifically for you. So we have prayers answered, we have keep trying with the starfish, and then we have actions lead to success. It's really interesting that your shadow side messages are coming through with this, and it literally doesn't look like a story, like prayers answered, you know, you pray for something, you're wanting something, and that's okay, and then, you know, it doesn't work out, and then it's your shadow side is like keep trying, because we're working here, we're growing here, we're getting nurtured here by you, by this resilience, by you, this keep trying. This is how we grow. This is how we grow as a person, and this is how we grow as a soul. And that it's important to believe also that your actions and all of this will lead to success. Even if you don't believe it 100% of the time, I feel like there is a guiding light in this energy that keeps pushing you towards that. The starfish card is one of my favorite cards because it conveys the experience of not understanding why something is happening and then having to go through the process. Like the person gets the starfish, she thinks it's going to grant her wish, she thinks it's going to grant her love, her relationship, or I don't remember exactly what it was. It's been a long time since I read it, but like, and it's not working. She thinks it's a gift from the gods, and it's not working, so she's getting frustrated, and she tries everything. She even tries to eat a piece of the starfish, and then she just gets so fed up and so over it that she just chucks it back in the ocean, and she's like, F this was bullshit, it didn't work, and now she feels hopeless, right? And then she watches the starfish, because she bit a piece of it off, she watches the starfish regenerate, grow back the legs. She gets this aha moment, and she's like, oh wait, okay. And then eventually, because of this, she kept going, and she receives what she wants eventually. And it's just the irony of like having to go through that whole process first, and even to the point where you get mad and you give up and you throw it, to realize that there's something in there about regeneration, and she had to see it. She had to go through that process to see it. And then eventually she got to where she wanted, or got what she wanted, and things like that. And so I feel like your shadow is saying, like, even though we feel hopeless sometimes, even though we feel helpless sometimes, even though we feel like our prayers are unanswered, or even though we feel like we're not really going anywhere, this process is very specific and very important to your journey, and there is substance here, and it is supposed to show you and push you and lead you to where you need to go. And that's also what your light is saying as well here too. So yeah, pretty cool that those came out like that. Okay, we have inside looking out for your light, the message from your light. And for your shadow, we have no one is yours but you. For some reason, there's an energy here that wants to keep calling you sweetie. And I normally don't say that, but with the inside looking out, I want it to be like, sweetie, you're not missing out on anything that's not meant for you, okay? Sometimes we got to take some space. Sometimes we got to take some time out, and sometimes it can feel like in this energy the world is passing us by, or sometimes it can feel like we're looking out and we're watching everything else happen, but nothing's happening for us. And your light is saying it's okay to feel that way, but that's not necessarily true. Again, maybe there's something really important about where you're at right now along with your journey at this time. And then when it's time to move, you'll know. When it's time to go, you'll go. Nothing is slipping away from you that's not already meant for you. You're not missing out on anything. You don't need to be in a rush. You don't need to have control over everyone and everything, which I think that's also like the no one is yours but you type of energy here too. You don't need to overcomplicate it either. It's okay to just be, and I think your light is pushing you towards an act of surrender, like surrendering to wherever you're at right now, surrendering to the current circumstances of a situation, surrendering to some sort of truth that is or has been or will be shown to you shortly, and a form of acceptance here too. If you feel like you're stuck right now, if you feel like you're in a waiting room, just know that that's not going to last forever, that eventually things will start moving again. And I feel like your shadow with the no one is yours but you can be coming through to say, sometimes we want to attach ourselves, or we overly attach ourselves to other people or other things. And that can be a root of suffering as well. But your shadow wants you to ask you, why are you attaching yourselves to these things and stuff? What is it that you're actually seeking? What is it that you're actually looking for? Is it about the thing? Is it about the person? How will you feel when you have this, right? But it's also a reminder that the sense of control that we have over these things is just a false illusion of control as well. There's something very powerful about releasing our grip on a situation or a person and allowing things to unfold. It also helps us conserve our own vital energy, our own life force energy, right? And we can redirect that to whatever it is that is needed at that time. Another thing is your shadow side may come through and focus on, or to kind of highlight, to highlight certain attachment styles. And those are triggers in its own sense, right? We get very triggered sometimes when one of our attachment styles is screaming, or sometimes both. I've been experienced, what the fuck am I trying to say? I was going to say I've been a victim of both, but I kind of didn't like that, because it's not. But, so I've experienced both. Like I feel like I've had situations that have brought out a super anxious attachment style for me. And then I've had other situations that have brought out a complete avoidance. And that kind of confused me too, because I'm like, which one am I? And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't even have to identify fully with it. What is it showing me about myself? Why am I feeling this way? You know what I'm saying? It's not really about what it is. It's about what it's doing and why. And I feel like your shadow side is saying that there's a great relief coming with looking at this. There's a lot of healing with this, and almost like a sense of freedom at the same time of just knowing that, hey, nothing is yours. No one belongs to you except you. No one's in control of you except you. And the shadow can come through as these like invisible chains that do control us, right? Until we bring the awareness, until we look at it, or we see it, or we, decide something different, which isn't always easy too. Going against what you're usually used to can feel quite hard, and it can feel quite scary. But I feel like there's always something underlining that's happening, like the attachment styles, and even like this inside looking out. There could be it's like the result of fear, right? Fear of loss, fear of abandonment, fear of missing out, fear of it never happening. And there's something about certain beliefs that we have that are coming out. And so I feel like with all of this like knowledge searching energy we were talking about, your light and your shadow really want you to get curious with what's happening. Go deeper, like it was saying, like go deeper than before, instead of like fixing the symptom, and you're not something that just needs to be fixed, but like sometimes we focus on just the symptoms of things and stuff, but there's something beneath that. And I think you're literally at a precipice, or you're like literally in this energy of being able to really like decipher this energy to where it's not gonna control you, or it doesn't have power over you. And there's just something really healing about this energy here too. Yeah, and something like really powerful. Like I said, this is like a really spiritual like pile. Okay, let's see what else we got. So, oh, I love that. For the light, we have Jupiter. For the shadow, we have Virgo. Ooh, we have the Virgo for the Hermit. Sorry, my mind just went blank. I feel like your light is reminding you, Jupiter being the planet of luck, but it also is the planet of expansion here too. But I feel like your light is here to bring in that light of like, don't worry, like you are somebody who maybe at times it feels like you're unlucky in life or unlucky in love and things like that, but it can change literally any moment. Your light is also reminding me too that the good things that come to you are not just luck, that they are meant for you and you do deserve them. So that's important to remember too. Sometimes we can get a little bit of like imposter syndrome when good things happen, and we can try to be like, we try to downplay it and be like, oh, it's just luck or something like that, just because maybe we don't have a full understanding. But your light is saying like, no, it's not luck. Like, you deserve good things and good things will happen. Jupiter is also the planet of expansion, so whatever it touches, it expands. Specifically at the time that you're watching this, whenever that is, pay attention to your Jupiter transits or where Jupiter is right now, or maybe even where it is in your chart, and that type of energy. What messages are you kind of getting from that here too? Now, your shadow coming through as Virgo, I feel like, and I'm a Virgo, I have a lot of Virgo placements, okay? Even Chiron in Virgo. So just all this Virgo being in the shadow doesn't mean nothing. Don't be offended, my fellow Virgos. But I am going to take this as kind of the shadow side. Sometimes your shadow can show up being, and be that energy of being very overly critical of yourself, overly controlling, maybe a little overly judgmental. But Virgos usually come from a good place, although sometimes that energy can get a bad rap, right? And I feel like when you are kind of in this energy, or this does happen, or when these things do come up, it could be just a sign from your shadow to say, hey, why am I feeling like this? Why do I feel like I have to be so overly critical, whether it's of yourself or of other people or things like that? And I'm picking up on a big sense of like wanting to control what other people say, wanting to control what other people do, and also wanting to control your circumstances, the universe, and maybe even like overly control yourself, like overly thinking about something, and then so like you overthink it and you don't act on it, or that sort of thing. But I also kind of do want to leave it open to interpretation from you. And that's the fun thing about feeling and picking up on like a very inquisitive energy pile, a very like spiritually like advanced pile, and people that are just very curious. I love that, because I'm like, what is it asking you? Like, what is it telling you? And I feel like that's been a huge theme of this entire reading, is like you getting down to the nitty-gritty and asking these questions and things like that. But just be aware sometimes that our inner critic can come through, and it can be very, very, very convincing. Okay, and you're allowed to question these thoughts. You're allowed to question those opinions and things like that, and and say, hey, you know what, that's not true. Sometimes this Virgo energy and shadow can be very anxious too. So when something is happening and you're feeling very anxious, what is it that is causing this? Is it like a fear of loss? Is it something not going your way? Is it a lack of faith or belief, which happens to every one of us all the time? Like, I'm big on like spirit guiding, and I know spirit guides me, and I see a lot of the time spirits, and I see the guidance too. And even then, if something happens in my life that I don't like, or something that I feel is catastrophic, even then, boom, I'm in that energy sometimes too. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with this at all. Don't judge yourself, okay? Like, it happens to the best of us is what I'm trying to say. But Spirit, what else is coming through? There was something. I'm sorry, there was something that was like right there. I just heard, don't question your timing too much. Don't worry about the timing too much. We've got it all under control. Like, it's okay. Sometimes this Virgo energy in the shadow, it can want to micromanage the universe. I'm raising my hand because I'm guilty of that sometimes too. So, again, you're not alone. And the Jupiter energy, which is funny, I'm like spitting everywhere. The Jupiter energy is Sagittarius energy. And that's almost like the opposite of this energy that we're picking up on here too. And so I feel like your light may be saying, hey, chill out a little bit. It's okay. It's okay to chill. It's okay to let things be. It's okay to release control. It's okay to explore. It's okay to expand. It's a planet. It's okay to transit. It's okay to change, all of these things as well. So I feel like for some of you, when this kind of energy comes up, you might feel very tight. You might feel like a tightness in your chest, or you might just feel very energetically tight. That's your call to take a deep breath, to relax, to remind yourself it's gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? And maybe if you feel like if it's something very heavy, like sitting with it. Yeah. Okay. So, wow, for the light, we have the crone. And for the shadow, we have the unseen. We were just talking about wisdom. The crone is like the last of the divine feminine. She's usually depicted as the old lady, and she's like moved beyond. She has such knowledge, such understanding from experience, and she's also very misunderstood. And I feel like your light is telling you not to fear the dark with this crone energy. I feel like your light is telling you not to fear death, not to fear change, maybe even the darker sides of things. There's a lot of misunderstandings about that too. If that's something like in your spiritual practices as well that you're open to. And just depending though on whatever you're open to. But right before the crone, I believe, is the mother. It's the maiden, the mother, and the crone. These are the three stages of the divine feminine. The maiden is younger. She's usually depicted a little bit more naive, but she's kind of reminds me of like the Fool card in tarot. Like, she's very hopeful. She's also very beautiful. And like, there's all of this. She's got all of this in front of her, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because the crone is the end when you have all this knowledge, when you have all this experience. And when people try to tell you stuff about yourself, you'll literally, like, the crone would scoff at them and be like, huh, you just don't understand. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like your light is saying, like, you're going to reach these levels of this understanding to where it's almost like, not in an egotistical way, like you're looking down, but in a way that feels very safe and secure to you, where you're like, you just don't understand. Or like someone tries to tell you something, or tries to tell you something about yourself, and you're like, okay, like it's like you have a higher perspective, a higher understanding, and you're like, okay, well, I understand like why you're saying that or why you feel that way, but little do you know that's not the case. And I feel like there's an energy of confidence that's coming from this. And I'm also being reminded by your light as well that you are somebody in a soul that has already a tremendous amount of wisdom. And if we can't see it or feel it or something or things like that, or there's like deceitful energy around, it can make us question ourselves, and that could be coming through from your shadow. But there's something here about this crone that's inviting you in to energies where most people would probably run or shy from at the same time. It's not about superficial. The crone's already past that stage where she's realized her worth isn't from how she looks. Her worth isn't from that, because guess what? That fades. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's got wisdom. She's got something of real substance. And she intimidates the shit out of people, to be honest. She intimidates the shit out of people. And sometimes that can get reactions from other people that in her younger days, I don't know why I'm like saying, but in her maiden days, would probably really, really affect. It would be a learning experience, and it would be part of the process here to get to where she's at. But I feel like your light is saying, like, you're going to be sitting in a place where your higher perspective and your wisdom isn't going to be wavered by a fool's opinion. And you also have compassion and understanding that the fool is a part of the journey too. And the fool will reach where it goes. The fool's journey is literally like the major arcana of tarot too. So it's not even from like a judgment place. It's from a very secure, very intentful place. And your light resides there too. And your light's there all the time. Even if other things get in the way or other things cloud that, it's in you. And it's always been a part of you through every stage, because time isn't real when it comes to spirit and things like that. So crazy, pretty cool. Anyways, the shadow side kind of being the unseen, I think this dictates the trickiness of sometimes our shadow energy. There's things about ourselves that we can't even see. There's things about ourselves that we don't even know. That's why with like the whole relationship things, being the teacher, that's actually very common and very important too. Like if you're somebody who's into Carl Jung, which I love him, and stuff like that, you know, like you've probably heard before that relationships are mirrors, and sometimes we enter a relationship when we've done so much healing, and I'm not talking about like that whole trope of like, oh, you need to be healed to have a relationship, because I don't like that. I feel like that kind of perpetuates a narrative of you have to be a certain way to be loved, or you have to be at a certain level to be loved, and we just know that that's flat out bullshit, not true. My point is though, is that we like say you're like on a healing journey and it's intentful or whatever, and then you can only do so much by yourself. You can only see so much by yourself. And so then here comes somebody that is going to show you a lot of things, good, great, and maybe things not so great. But they are mirrors and things like that. And so I think there's also, with this unseen, there's a sense of humility, of remembering too, there's things that about ourselves that maybe we're still not able to see. Maybe the shadow creeps in, or those projections creep in, and we're not able to see. And just kind of accepting sometimes that we don't know everything, even though we've been told like we have all this wisdom, because it is true. But there's also intelligence in accepting the fact that we don't have all the answers. We think that we do, but we don't. And it opens you up to so much more knowledge at the same time too. It's crazy. Okay. So from the light, we have truth and abundance. And from the shadow, we're almost done, guys. I know it's going on, but we're almost done. And then from the shadow, we have birth. I think we were talking about there was accepting some sort of truth. And this gives also like your inner truth as well. But your light is saying you are very abundant. We have Jupiter here too, and that's the truth as well. Our shadow sometimes can make us think and remind us of old wounds that represent scarcity, represent not being good enough, or wanting to hold on or latch on to something or one thing because we don't believe in the abundance sometimes of the universe, or we're scared that it's not true. And those are all things that I feel like we also work through relationships too, which is funny. But spirit is reminding you, and your light is reminding you, that you are an abundant being, and anything that you have to let go of, I feel like there's with that crown, there was a big emphasis on not fearing death and not fearing change, that anything that you have to let go of will most likely be replaced with something and something better. You know what I'm saying? And there's a truth within you, within your heart, that you accept, but sometimes it can be clouded by doubts, and sometimes it can be clouded by fears. Now we have the birth card in the shadow. This is big too. This is saying that the start of something new. This is saying change is on the horizon. I feel like opening up to a new world as well. You know what's so interesting is I feel like I've been seeing, which I know I said this before, but I've been getting a lot of shadow messages from the light and lots of light messages from the shadow, which again just tells me that you're like that. But again, birth can represent change, and it can also just represent, you know, you going through a phase in your life, or whenever you go through certain phases to where you you know, are walking through the underworld, so to speak, or working with your shadow, you come out so much, whether it's renewed, rebirthed, regenerated, all of those things, right? It's like you come out so different. And with all the eyes, I think it genuinely changes the way that you see the world. So I feel like this is almost like giving you like a pat on the back here too. Okay. We have my thoughts are creative for the light. And then we have my future is glorious for the shadow. I say, this is the light one. I say out loud to every negative thought that comes to my mind, no person, place, or thing has any power over me. I am the only thinker in my mind. I create my own reality and everyone in it. I love that. Your light is still saying like, hey, I'm always there to call upon. Like if it gets too negative, if it gets too dark in there, if it gets too hopeless or helpless, like call on me and like, let's work together and let's redirect this energy if you feel like we need it, you know, redirect it, because your thoughts and what you think over time can be very important. It's not necessarily each thought, like how people are like, oh, if you think negatively you're going to manifest negatively. No, it's more about your outlook and how it shapes your perspective and how you view the world. If you view the world as on fire, it's gonna come back and be on fire to you. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is just about you being able to shift. So my future is glorious. I now live in limitless love, light, and joy. All is well in my world. There's something about anxiety here from your shadow side. And this is, again, what limiting belief is causing this. And I'm not saying you're never going to have anxiety or anything like that. And honestly, if you feel like you need medical, if it's very serious and it's causing you health, I would definitely seek medical attention. But there's something, it's again showing you something about whether the uncertainty there, like the not believing in yourself, or maybe not believing this is actually happening. And it's okay to just feel this too. Like that's one of the things too, is that I feel like we're always trying to like rid ourselves. And that's the thing about shadow work, is that sometimes it's looked apart as like cutting out the bad or cutting out the wrong, but really you're just adding more light, you're adding more good, or well, I guess it's whatever's good to you. You get what I'm saying? You're adding more of what you want to become and not necessarily taking away, but you're adding more of what you want to become, and then it starts changing and it starts overpowering, or it starts integrating, you know? All right. So for the light, we have, when I don't feel good about myself, I become needy and clingy towards others. And then it's fearful, a learned behavior that can be unlearned. Also a low vibrating feeling that creates limitations for you and future happiness. Oh, I love that. I feel like your light is really saying like, hey, just remember, like, you know, you can't control everything and you can't control the people, and sometimes things will trigger certain things within you. But just remember, I like how it says, just remember that this learned behavior can also be unlearned, and it is a feeling and it's not necessarily the truth. Okay, so these things are natural and they can be worked through, and I feel like, again, you're already kind of in the process of that here too. So, and the last one from your shadow says, I become jealous when I don't get enough attention. I honestly think that that's not from a person, or that's not from you and like a relationship. I honestly think that's your shadow saying like, hey, I need attention sometimes too. We even had the light saying nourish the shadow. And maybe it comes through, like when it doesn't, like it's something that you sometimes just can't ignore, you know? I don't know why I think that was so cute though. Okay, and then we have possessive. You're clinging on to someone or something way too tightly. Learn to let go. Love has no ownership. Everyone has free will. And I can see a theme here too with that. No one is you but yours and things like that. And it's also about letting go and just letting things flow and letting things work out. It's natural to want to hold on. It's natural to want to control and possess and things like that. But you know better than that. And that's, like I said, sometimes attachments can be a very big source and root of our suffering. Okay, so that is it. I did this in pile 1, and it's just like a fun little message. I have been, I was calling pile 1 this, I've been decluttering and going through like my closet, like the cabinets, everything like that, kind of just getting rid or donating like things. And I found like some really old tarot decks that I've made, or really old cards that I made like a really long time ago. And I was like even talking about how the stickers have like they're vine stickers, which that can show like obviously they're like older, outdated. Okay, so we have a theme happening here. It says, learn to let things go. Not everything deserves your response. I like the imagery of a tight fist because it feels like, again, it's a wasted energy and we can loosen up. And it feels good to loosen up sometimes too. Although at first it feels scary. Spirit is really saying, it's time to let go. Or learn to let go, let flow. You're beautiful no matter what anyone thinks. What's important is what you think. I love that message too. Dang, I was so insightful years ago. I think this is just a sticker. Be silly, be honest, be kind. Let's get one more for you, just to fill this gap. I don't like when it's gap. And then we're leaving. And then that's it, guys. And I'm out of here, okay? You don't have to hear me anymore. Unless you go to another reading. It's glasses and it says, bruh, chill. I don't know why you're in such a big time rush. I think that was a message before too, right? Trust your own timing. Bottom of the deck. It's okay to separate yourself from people and situations you've outgrown. Things will happen in their own time. Don't worry, don't rush the process. It's your process and it's beautiful and it's yours, and that's beautiful enough. Okay guys, I am going to leave this reading. We are going to close it here. So thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you so much for allowing me to read for you, allowing me to yap on. That's what I do best apparently. Thank you for all the support too. Thank you for commenting, sharing, subscribing. Shout out to my Vibrant Soul Tribe, my subscribers. Thank you so much. Thank you to just, even if it's just a simple like or a thumbs up or a hype, that does wonders too. I just appreciate all of it in whatever form the support is. And so I just appreciate you guys so much. I can't wait to see you guys again. Maybe I will if you want to check out another pile, another reading, or if you want to subscribe, you'll see me again. If you don't want to do any of that, that's okay. Not mad at you. Maybe I'll pop up on your home feed when you just need another random reading from me. I like that too. But either way, I will see you guys there. Bye. Hi pile 3, welcome to your reading. If you chose the quartz pyramid or the sun and moon combo from the Tarot of the Divine. I was gonna say Divine Tarot, close enough. But if you chose that, you are at the right place. So we are going to be looking at messages and advice from your inner light and messages and advice from your inner shadow, and seeing what those are for you and why they are coming up. So as always, thank you for being here. We have a lot we're going to cover, so I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to hop right into it. So we're going to start right here. This side is my left side, is going to be your inner light, and this side is going to represent your inner shadow and what messages await you So we're going to start with the tarot. So for your inner light, the first card that we have is the Fool. We also have the High Priestess, and we have the Eight of Cups. For the tarot for your inner shadow, we have, oh look, we have the Moon. So one of the cards you actually chose. And we also have the King of Swords. And we have the Strength card coming in reverse here. What I love about the Fool card coming for your main message for your light is no matter what you go through, no matter what you've been through, there is this energy of renewal with the Fool card. There's this energy of feeling free again. You can start over as many times as you need to. You can begin as many times as you need to. And I feel like your inner light speaks through this sort of like excitement, this mindset of what's to come, what awaits you, the journey, and all of those beautiful things. We have the High Priestess here, which means you are heavily influenced through your intuition and spirit and your inner light. At the same time, you are somebody who has inner knowledge. It has a lot to show you. It has a lot, and it guides you. It may not always make sense. You may not always understand it, but it is always there. Your light may guide you to your spiritual practices and learning and unlearning certain beliefs about what you think of the world, what you think of humanity, and most importantly, what you think of yourself. And the Eight of Cups here can represent us and your light shining through whenever you need to release, whenever you need to move on. Your light is always guiding you. We have these two moons with like the circles around it, which is like the light here too. So wherever you decide to go on your journey, your light is there. You're guided. And I think that that's a really beautiful message, and it can be very comforting, specifically if you are in a situation right now where you're in a transition or you're leaving some things behind. This could be inner emotions, or it could be something physical at the same time. I feel like the High Priestess and the Fool is your intuition guiding you to say it's okay to trust yourself, that you are headed in the right direction, and don't be afraid of the unknown or where, you know, your own personal journey leads you. Now, we have the Moon for the shadow, the King of Swords, and the Strength in reverse. I feel like your shadow a lot of the time comes from the subconscious or even the unconscious things. And your shadow may speak to you through dreams as well. Sometimes we have like anxiety dreams or fear dreams, or even if they're like good dreams and things like that, like there's something there that's speaking to you, your own psyche. And I feel as though the Moon card also being in the shadow aspect can represent our fears, and at the same time that light guiding you through the uncertainty, there's fears of that as well. And with the King of Swords also coming in directly in the same position as the High Priestess, sometimes we can overthink and we can overanalyze, or we can be too logical sometimes in things, and that can be a gift, but it can also be a double-edged sword. The good thing about the King of Swords here, though, is that it is the master of the mind. So I feel like with your shadow, you are somebody who, first of all, you're somebody who's very intelligent, and I feel like you're somebody who is here to master these things, master these fears, master these things of the mind. And the Moon can also represent illusions. So at the same time, the Strength coming in reverse, whatever is happening in our outer world, or when we're going through a process where our shadow is very present and things like that, it can cause illusions of the self that make us feel less capable than we actually are. It can make us feel sometimes that we don't have the strength, or we don't have the tools, or we don't have the necessities to make it through. And I feel like the main message with this is that those are just illusions of the mind. Those are just subconscious things coming to light to remind you that these things are not true. So you don't have to give in to them or bend the knee to, whether it's fears or insecurities or uncertainties, or even if it's the moon, which goes deep, or even things that we've been told before, you know, when growing up and things like that. These are all things that I feel like this King of Swords energy is meant to be here to slash away. You are somebody with an incredible amount of strength and an incredible amount of resilience. And I feel like that Fool card is featuring that at the same time. Like, that's what your light is saying, is like, you are always going to be in a place where you can keep going. Like I said, the renewal or the new beginnings and things like that. So I feel like one of the main messages is sometimes our fears can be very strong. Sometimes they can be very convincing. Sometimes they can even be very logical. But that can just be your shadow coming through to keep you safe at that time. And I kind of like that too. That's been coming through a lot as well, is that our shadow is meant to help us discover ourselves more. And a lot of the time it does come from love, like especially if it wants to keep us safe or comfortable and things like that. Like, that is usually coming from love too, but sometimes it's not helpful. And that's why we work through these things. That's why we do the shadow work. That's why we discover the parts of ourselves, or we continue through the uncertainty and the fears, and we come out on the other side realizing that we would have never been in this place. We would have never had these things if we didn't push through, if we didn't give ourselves permission or give ourselves that chance to see for ourselves instead of listening or staying and things like that. So, all right, we're going to go through the oracles now. I feel like maybe some of you could be going through a heavy time. Breath work can be very helpful too. I feel like I need to breathe. That can be helpful to some of you, maybe in the harsh moments, or if you guys suffer sometimes from anxiety, which we all do from certain things, you know, some worse than others, you know what I'm saying? But breath work can be very important. All right, so the message here from your light is unhookable, and the message here from your shadow is inner winter. Inner winter can also be related to the moon, because it is in the seasons forms. If we're looking at it in us, it is the darker time. It is the time for rest. It is the time for recuperation and things like that. Now, I feel like the duality card is also on purpose with your shadow here to represent the seasons. Every time you step into that winter phase, it can feel, the illusions can come up, and it can feel like this is going to be it forever. It can feel like you're getting dragged down to the depths of hell and there's no escape. And like I said, that is an illusion, that it always flips, and you will have that inner summer or the other seasons as well too, right? It's very important to know that these things are cycles, that these things, just like the transits of the planets, they're always moving, right? So if you kind of if you're having a difficulty maybe in your astrological timing, just know that it's not going to be there forever. Some move slower than others, and you move at your own pace. And there's a big emphasis on the importance of the winter times too. They hold just as much substance and just as much value and are just as helpful as the good times. If sometimes, I mean, we can even argue if not more. The good times are definitely more enjoyable, don't get me wrong. So I see why those are the most appreciated. But when it comes to growth and advancement and even inner healing and shadow work, this is where it's at. I love this unhookable energy in your light though, pile 3, because one of the amazing things about this card is it talks about all of the things that in the past used to borderline destroy us, break us, knock us off track, make us have to stop in our tracks. Like all of those things that we've gone through that have affected us deeply, your light is coming to say that that is going to be no longer. You're going to get to a place, you're going to rise above, or you may be in a place right now that the things that used to really shake you don't have such a hold on you. They don't burden you as much. And that is because of the growth that you're doing. That is because you are evolving and you're growing and all of those things. And I feel like your inner light is coming through with a message that you've done that before. That's happened to you before. And this is a good outlook to have for any, whether it's current or future obstacles that you may be facing, or conflicts that you may be facing, is that you've gotten through it many times. You've rose above, and now it's like it doesn't even bother you anymore. And for those of you, that's where you will be too, just depending on your situation. So I really like that card. Actually, now that I think about it, I think this is one of my favorite cards, just for that reason. And I feel like also that's tied to the Fool card too. Like where, okay, you were going through something or there was issues and now you just feel so free. Now you just feel good again, like nothing can hold you back. Almost like kind of like you're on top of the world in a sense as well. But you still have the journey, and you know that it ebbs and it flows, and there's ups and there's downs and everything like that. But your light is always here to remind you of this energy, even when you're in this energy. Okay, so we're gonna see. So we have prayers answered for your light, and then we have keep trying. These two cards came out in pile 2, or was it pile 1? It came out in another pile. And then for your shadow, we have shake, release, heal, and move on. And then we have evolve into your complexity. I feel like the octopus here coming in your shadow just goes to show again that you're somebody who's very intelligent. I keep seeing patterns of that your mind is brilliant, but sometimes there's the dual edge, right? We talked about the double-sided sword. You could be very intelligent. You could be very good at pattern recognition. You could be very good at predicting and things like that. But sometimes if we are too good, or we kind of lean too much into the negative side, you know what I'm saying, then it can become a little bit detrimental. Another message from your shadow here is shake, release, and heal, move on. And this, I think, is tied to the moon, that kind of unconscious kind of energy. You may unintentionally have a lot of trauma stored in your body. And one of the pieces of advice for this is to, quite literally, you could just shake, release. You can always do it with intention too. You can do somatic, is it somatic yoga? I think there's different forms, but like somatic healing for your body, stretches, things like that. Sit with yourself. If you're somebody who like you would be into yoga or something like that, but do it intentionally. Or like I said, if you're going through something, or you just went through something and it was like really rough, there's a lot of power, even though it feels kind of silly, of literally just getting up and shaking the energy out of your body. Like, you know how like if something kind of knocks you off course and then you kind of gotta, like in like cartoons, they kind of like shake their head and then they come back. That's like kind of what it is. So be aware of how you can store these things. A lot of the times it's not your fault. A lot of the times it's not intentional, but you can be intentional and remove these things from your body naturally. You can ask spirit to help you with this too. You can seek out sources. You can do whatever you want to do. Another thing that I feel like connects these two cards too is the gazelle is known for being very beautiful in the wild, but also very sought after by predators and things like that. And the gazelle is very fearful. It's very like, it'll be drinking water. You hear a twig crack, it's like, huh. Like it looks, what's that? Very on edge and things like that. Your inner shadow is saying this is your nervous system speaking to you too. So again, like the breath work, somatic practices, or just moving this energy throughout your body can be very, very helpful for you. And a lot of times we feel very tight. We hold on to things, our muscles. Actually, this just reminds me too, TMI, but I just found out that I do that in my pelvic floor, and years and years and years of being tight and storing trauma, it actually has affected me physically. So I can relate. So you're not alone. But yeah, the pelvic floor and the hips and things like that are very good. The lower back, things like that, but it could be anywhere. It just depends. But just make sure, like I said, intentional, and just look into it as well. But that could be definitely a thing. Now, the evolve into your complexity, I feel like this is about, again, your journey. The octopus is so adaptable, so versatile. And again, it has a lot of predators out there too, but it outsmarts them. Like I said, it's very intelligent. And I feel like this is a reminder that of all the great things that we talk about of the octopus, it did take it being in survival mode. It did take it learning. I don't know why I just like had a lisp right now. It did take it learning to become what an amazing creature it is now by evolving. So with that sense, with your shadow, sometimes we look at all the things that we've gone through and it's unfair and it's bullshit and we hate it. But I feel like the light in the dark of this is saying you've become such a versatile, smart, intelligent, wise person. And that's also, you're also going to continue becoming this and growing from this as well. You're not trapped. You're not stuck. You're evolving. You're growing. And speaking of that, with the light, we have the prayer answered and the keep trying. Speaking of like that evolving and growing and having to go through those things, but with these two cards together though, like you've survived, but sometimes I can feel it. Sometimes even like our immune system, it can be affected by, and our bodies and things like that, they're still stuck in that trauma. They're still stuck in that survival mode. So take time to release these things from your body. I know I just said that, but I feel like it's very important here too. But yeah, so the prayers answered and the keep trying. This is your light again, reiterating too that there's purpose in the journey. There's purpose in the mistakes, which there's not really mistakes, there's lessons. There's purpose in what we view as fuck ups or mistakes. There's purpose in why you feel the way that you feel. There's purpose in everything that is leading you to where you want to be, or whatever you're praying for, or whatever you're wishing for, and whatever you're asking for. And your light is saying, don't give up, because those things are coming. Those things will be answered. Even if you're not even directly like thinking of something right now, it could just be the energy you want to exude, the life that you want to live. It could be a relationship. There's no like judgment on what it is that you truly want from this life, but you have to go through. It's like dating, for example, too. Like, if you're dating and stuff, sometimes it can be easy to get really attached. But like when we look at the bigger picture, it's like, no, it's kind of like a trial and error thing too. Like you're gonna meet people that you're not compatible with. You're gonna meet, and I'm kind of like picturing almost like a speed dating kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna have to go through the trial and error, but your light is saying that you will end up where you're meant to be, and that's the most important part. And your prayers are heard. Your journey is very sacred, and it could be very individual to you, right? And so it may not be understood by another person, but it's yours, and it's perfectly curated for you, even if it feels like it's not. Like there's a quote that's coming to mind that goes something along the lines of, I am so divinely guided that even my mistakes are divinely guided. And that's this starfish energy that I feel like your light is coming through to say. Like all routes, all detours lead you to home. And so you can take some of the worry off of that. You can take some of the anxiety and maybe release a little bit of the control from that too, and have a little bit of surrender, so you can save and protect your energy in that sense as well. But also follow it. Follow those inklings. Do what you want to do. Those are important too. Okay. Oh, so we have the 8th house in the light, which is interesting. That makes me think of that message too, that transit. The 8th house can be very hard energy to go through. It's one of the most transformative areas of our chart. It also represents death and rebirth. It represents a lot of things too. But in this sense, I feel like your light is saying all of these things are only temporary at the same time, and you are somebody who can transform as well. Another thing that I'm hearing with this energy coming from your light is that the 8th house being the other people's resources. Other people don't have as much control over you as sometimes it may seem. And there's something about your own sovereignty and your own independence coming from this energy. But again, sometimes we have to move through it. Sometimes we have to experience it for it to do its job or to do what it's going to do. You may be somebody who has a lot of 8th house placements. So maybe this energy is very familiar to you at the same time. Maybe you like the taboo things. Maybe you like the darker side of things and those subjects as well. If that perks your interest, that's okay too. Like self-acceptance on all levels. You like what you like and you don't have anything to be ashamed of. Also, the 8th house sometimes can represent like sex and things like that. And it can also represent us in like vulnerability too, depending on how it is aspected and how it manifests differently and it affects differently. But I think that your light is saying that there's a depth to you that even if not many people get to see it, you can get to know it and you can get to feel it and understand it. And it's a very powerful energy. Oh, another message from your light with this too is that you personally could be a light for other people that may have gone through similar situations, whether it's similar traumas or they're going through a situation. There's something about you and your energy and your light that captivates and can really help and guide other people as well. And this could be an audience, or it can be family members, it can be friends, it can be, you know, anything like that. But there's something very important about your experiences and discovering this light from within them, and then it helping like the collective. And like I said, even if it's just energetically too. Okay, we have Libra for the shadow, and we also have Neptune. Neptune is also sometimes can be a little bit of an delusional type of planet. I'm hearing though, with this Libra energy, for some reason, self-preservation and forgiveness and fairness to yourself and doing things in balance too. Sometimes our shadow can lead us to whether it's avoidant behaviors or self-destructive behaviors. And this can also correlate with the Libra sign to our relationships with other people. These are illusions. Some of you may have Neptune in Libra or Neptune in the 7th house as well. And this could be like divinely guided lessons that you're meant to kind of maneuver through. And I feel like sometimes in relationships, they are mirrors, but sometimes we don't even see those mirrors correctly when it's mirroring back to us. We can feel less than, or we can feel unworthy and things like that. And I feel like this is coming through to just say to be aware of how these illusions can dictate your relationships, or how they can even just show up. in relationships as well. There's something very karmic always about Libra too. It's the justice scales and things like that. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves what we're deserving of and what we want. And see something for what it is what your inner shadow is saying. There's something sometimes that it casts kind of like a fog with Neptune over it, but you're being guided to see something exactly what it is in this time. And stay away from self-destructive behaviors, or keep them in balance. Keep them in balance. It's okay to indulge in certain things, but you know yourself more. Like an example of this would be like if you're somebody who in your life it's kind of you feel like you have a very addictive personality, then maybe you should probably stay away from very highly addictive things or substances. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I feel like I'm hearing with the evolving, it becomes easy for self-accountability in the areas of your life where this is being presented. I feel like with fairness and justice to yourself too. And sometimes those illusions can be very powerful, very misleading. And sometimes because of these things, we can tend to escape. We can tend to escape in other relationships, or we can just have like our own little things where we escape as well. And I feel like sometimes that is the shadow trying to avoid certain things. But like I said, keeping stuff in balance. It's not like you can't do those things as well. It's just bringing the awareness in for the balance here. Ooh, for your inner light, we have good things. And then for your shadow, we have body. There's so much going on with your body, guys, in this energy. We already talked about like the stored trauma and shaking and, you know, getting it all out and everything like that. But some of this, your shadow, or some of this inner shadow work can also be directed at body image too. And this is something that I've talked about in many, many readings, about how growing up in this world, it can be very misleading about placing the importance on how we look and our physicalities. And don't get me wrong, like a lot of the times, like that can be important, and it is good to take care of yourself, and it is good to look good and to feel good at least, but you don't have to be the best looking. You don't have to be any of that, and your worth isn't dependable on that either. You know what I'm saying? Like, you deserve love in whatever form that you are, and you can look at that too as an example of aging. You know what I'm saying? Like, old people have gone through their life, and they deserve love and respect and like all of these things too. Of course, depending on, like, obviously if they're like really mean to you, then you don't have to give them respect. You could do whatever you want or walk away. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about like if it was you and your age. You know what I'm saying? That is such a privilege, and you have so much wisdom and just so much life that you've lived, and that is just so freaking beautiful. But to some people, or in a society specifically, I think it's harder in women, but it's in men too. They hold so much value on trying to preserve your youth and trying to preserve these, and like, you know, or like being a certain, looking a certain way, being you know, having a certain body type and all of these things. And these things can be embedded so fucking deep within everyone, because a lot of the times you grow up with that too. And I feel like this is just your shadow coming again to say, this does affect me. This is something, you know, to look at, and all you have to do is just nourish it. Just give it some love and some forgiveness and some unconditional like reassurance, and just say, hey, like I understand that how we feel and why we feel this way, but it's not true. And that's where like Neptune and the moon and these, you're kind of breaking free from these illusions or breaking free from these invisible chains, right? And you're moving towards self-acceptance, which is integrating this. And it's not always easy, and it doesn't mean that these things are never ever going to come up again. But the point of the unhookable card from your light is saying that, you know, they start off really hard. It starts off as like feeling really powerful, but it gets easier over time. The more you work through this, the more you just lean into this self-acceptance and this self-love and things like that, it does get easier. Okay, and with the light, we have good things. I think we all know what that means. You have good things to come. You deserve good things. You can tell yourself right now, I deserve good things. And I like that it's the hand reaching out too, because, you know, you have abundance. You have a choice. You can go for good things too. The more we work on your confidence, and I say this is like a generalization, like the more we work on our confidence and things like that, the more we're able to reach further for these good things or go for it and things like that. And your light wants you to go for it. Your light wants you to want good things. Your light wants good things for you. And your shadow does too. Don't get me wrong. Your shadow does too, but sometimes the shadow is scared of the good things. Sometimes the shadow holds us back from the good things because that's uncomfortable and that's scary. And there are some limiting beliefs behind there that maybe don't match up. And that's where you kind of get that conflict. But you're meant to work through these things. Ease into it too. Like with ease and grace as well. I know it sounds a lot more complicated when we say, oh, just let go, or oh, just work through it, or blah, blah, blah. But it's usually your natural process of life too. But all you got to do is just lean into it. Bring the awareness or question it. And that's something that's very helpful too. Okay, another thing that I'm drawn to on the body before we move on is that it is the number 56. Sometimes the number 56 can represent family. And so maybe some of these things are also ancestral as well too. Like an example would be like if you grew up with a mother that was very insecure, or and she was like very like negative self-talking to her and her body and like in pictures and things like that, you may have unintentionally absorbed that as well. And so you may not even know why you feel that way about you too, or you kind of picked up those traits and things like that. And so I think that some of these shadow aspects are definitely ancestral for this pile as well too, which means it's not your fault. And hey, you could be the breaker, the cycle breaker and things like that, which is also really powerful energy too. Okay, so for your light, we have the unseen, which is interesting because this same card came out in one of the other piles, but in the shadow side. Ooh, and then we have the river for you in the shadow side. Rivers always make me think of cleansing. They always make me think of like washing away. And also surrender too. Surrendering to whatever it is that we're feeling in the moment can be some of the most potent healing that we can actually do. And I feel like, again, there's an energy of forgiveness. Not staying stuck and letting it move you to where you need to go, and releasing the past and leaving everything else behind, giving it to the river to wash away, giving it to the earth to transmute for you, and you feeling so much lighter when you get to the other side, when you get to the destination. There's something very cleansing about this energy and this process that you're currently, whether you're going through or this is a process that you continuously go through, because it usually is cycles, right? It's usually cycles. I don't really have to go into it, but you get it, right? And I feel like the more you go through this, the lighter you become, the more unhookable you become, the more free you feel with this Fool card and all of this stuff too. So I feel like your shadow is really not asking too much from you. It's just saying like let it wash away, let it push you to where you need to go, release control. Let it bathe you. Let it renew you. Whereas sometimes, you know, it can ask for something particular to look at and stuff like that. But I feel like your process is like you're going through it anyways, or you're going to be led there anyways, and all you got to do is just kind of surrender. Which, again, our analytical minds can be like, well, what the fuck, you know? Because you're like, well, I got to do something, I got to have the answer now, I got to figure it out now. And like, it makes sense on why you have the High Priestess here and the King of Swords here, because it's like, I know you feel that way and I know you think that way, but just trust. And even with the unseen here, oh yeah, the unseen and the High Priestess. Guys, you're very divinely guided. Not just by your light, but by source, by spirit. And the unseen is such a potent energy too, because it's all around us and it requires us, it requires us to feel. Like, it's something that you feel. And the unseen can be 12th house energy, if that resonates with you too. And I just feel like with this unseen too, your light is also saying that there's so many parts of you that sometimes you neglect. And I'm not talking about your shadow, because the shadow is usually like neglected or pushed away. Your light is referring to your light. That there's so many parts of you that you neglect about yourself that are so beautiful, that are just great qualities to have. I'm hearing your heart too. And I feel like your light is like, pay attention to me. Pay attention to those things too. I'm thinking of another quote too. I guess today is just like quote day. Another quote that's like, if you think that you're self-aware, but all you do is focus on what you need to fix or what you need to change, because that's another thing too, or all of the negatives, then you're not self-aware. You're just as delusional as just being only positive, but in the sense of being negative, because self-aware would be aware of all your freaking amazing qualities too. And I feel like your light is like, hey, just remind yourself here and there. Just take a peek at that. Take a peek at that side. Open that curtain too, and see the glory of who you are. That sounds funny too. But yeah, that brings me back to just one more thing too about, we always feel like when we're doing shadow work, we got to remove things. We got to take away things. We got to cut things out, which sometimes we do have to cut habits out and things like that. But a lot of the times, if you just flood it with, instead of taking away what you don't want anymore, you focus on what the habits and the changes that you do want, it integrates it, right? And it becomes easier. Instead of focusing on removing, focus on gaining the things that you want and allowing things to kind of mesh in their own way too. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Okay. So we have these two. So for your light, we have, I release all criticism. I only give out that which I wish to receive in return. My love and acceptance of others is mirrored to me in every moment. You know what's really crazy is we've had a lot of repeating cards throughout all of the piles, and there's so many cards with so many decks. It just blows my mind that the same freaking cards come out. It's so funny how the collectives can be so intertwined sometimes. And then for your shadow, we have, when I fail to set boundaries with others, I become angry with myself for days. You know, both of these cards literally talk about just being really hard on yourself. And it's important to do what feels right to you, so you're not feeling like you're abandoning yourself, because the shadow can represent that too. And it's important to learn and to grow from those, but you don't have to dwell in this energy of beating yourself up. And the inner critic can be very, very annoying. It can be very faint though. It can be very, very faint, like just a feeling, like a little feeling in the back of your mind, or it can be really, really loud too, depending on it. But I think your light is saying that, hey, you're just sometimes a little too hard on yourself, and your shadow is too. Just like a little too hard on yourself, and ease up on my girl, dude, or ease up on my boy, dude. Like, it's not that serious. Like, you need to chill, okay? And it's like almost like getting defensive over your inner critic. Like, you need to chill. But yeah, the inner critic can also be very convincing, and it can be very deeply embedded too. But just remind yourself, your light is saying you're doing good enough. You are good enough. You're doing a great job. I mean, a part of the healing process is, yeah, we can always be doing more, but you're doing good now and you're doing enough now. And so focus on that. Focus on that. Again, your light's like, focus on your good qualities because you have so many. Why are you always like focused on what you need to improve, or what else is the next thing, or what's wrong, or what happened? And don't get me wrong, like those things are good to evaluate here and there. But I think your light is saying that you're spending way too much time and energy on that. It's not fair to you. You can revise things, you can revisit those things when the time comes and when you need to. And when they come up, like the fears, the insecurities, and the doubts and stuff like that, that's when you can redirect, that's when you can nourish, that's when you can comfort, or you can choose differently. Like, you don't listen to the fear, you choose something else, you know, and you develop that strength and all of that. But you're being too critical about what's right, what's wrong, who you should be, what you should do. Spirit's like, give yourself that freedom. None of that matters. Just be who you want to be. Which I know that's easier said than done and sounds a little like corny, but it's true. Self-acceptance, radical self-acceptance is such a powerful tool for healing. I'm also hearing, I just heard mirror practicing. So standing in the mirror and saying good things to you, saying the things you like about yourself. And if you don't normally do that, or you've never done that, when you first start, notice how you feel. Do you feel really uncomfortable? Does it feel really weird? Lean into that. Keep doing it because of that. That's not a reason to shy away or to stop. Keep doing that. Notice all the things you like about yourself, inside and out. So, okay, and the last one of these, we have another freedom card in childhood. So your light is reminding you as well that anything that has held you back, or the unconscious, subconscious, these childhood wounds, you have the power to be free, and you will be free from these things as well. Again, it's a part of your process. Again, we may think, well, how? Well, how? Hey, a lot of the times life will show you how, okay? Like, that's one of the things that I've learned is, like, when I first like really got into my spiritual practices and stuff, I would sit down and journal and try to do shadow work and stuff like that. And I did learn a lot. Like, I'm not knocking that, and I'm not saying there's nothing from that, but the real shadow work came from the experiences in life. The real shadow work came through the things that I was going through the conflicts, through the challenges. That's when it goes. So life will bring you those things too. It's good to remember that as well. And because you are somebody who's bringing the awareness, I mean, you're literally watching this reading right now, so I don't knock that. Because you're somebody who's bringing these awareness, things like that, you're shaping and shifting and evolving. Like it said, evolve your complexity, or to your complexity, or whatever it said. And you are creating this freedom for yourself. And the unhookable. I just keep going back to that unhookable card. You keep getting better and better and better. It's gonna keep getting easier and easier and easier. Yes, there will be new challenges. Yes, there will always be something to overcome. Yes, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, look at how much you've grown, dude. Like, look at how far you've come. And all of that is evidence of your strength to get through anything else. Speaking of that, we have power and we have release. Sometimes we have to release the things that feel like that they have so much power over us, and sometimes we find that there's so much power in our shadow side. It goes both ways. You may go both ways too. I don't know. But with the release thing, and if you do go both ways, or you are somebody, actually, I was like, why did I say that? Was that for a reason? And then this started flooding. Or maybe for some of you, and this is obviously very specific in a general reading, so take what's for you and take what's not. If you are somebody who has struggled before, like maybe in childhood or in the past with your sexuality and has been questioning it and things like that, there is things to release: inner shame, inner judgment, whether that's like our parents' views, our societal views, and things like that, and you will discover how much power it is to fully embrace who you truly are. Sometimes the shame can even be tied into like religious themes and stuff too. But it just depends. But yeah, so I feel like your shadow is saying that you're also in a state of release right now too. And sometimes it can feel powerless, but trust me, there's a lot of power in it. There's a lot of energy in this right here too. But I feel like you're someone who's very resilient. And again, like a major theme here that we've said before, as I'm gonna like end it is, well, almost end it, but as I'm going to almost end it, is that the more you lean into this energy, the more you go through your own process, your own seasons, the more the things that once had power over you don't have power over you anymore, and that power belongs to you. You are the powerful one. And you've always been, and it's always been inside you. But sometimes we have to go through the process to rediscover it. One of the great things, or like the great examples of that, or like metaphor examples, would be like the Wizard of Oz, right? You know, they're trying to find the heart. They're trying to find a brain, trying to find the way home. And then at the end, it's like, guys, you've had it all along. That whole like illusion of the wizard was just that. It was just an illusion. It was a hoax, and you've had the power all along. But society and this world, with all of these illusions and lies and stuff, will make us believe that we need to find something outer to do it, but it is only inner. And yes, to some people that sounds cliche, but when you feel it, you truly feel it. When you experience it, you truly experience it, and you truly understand that. And that is the wisdom of it. So you're doing amazing. Keep going. I love you. We're going to do one more deck, and it's going to be super, super quick. I've already explained this in the other piles, but I'm in a phase right now where I'm cleaning out everything, where I'm decluttering like closets, drawers, all sorts of stuff, cabinets, everything, right? And I found a freaking box of like really, really old decks that I've made and stuff. And I was like, it would be so fun to use it here. So we're gonna see. Oh, look, take time for yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. And that's that winter time too, as well. I think that sometimes our shadow calls to us when it is time to just rest at the same time. And so does our light too. And I think the light shines on the importance of rest and nurturing that's like part of yourself. It's just as vital. Like you can't keep going and going and going. Burnout is very real. Okay, what are some ending messages here for my pile 3? And then I promise I will leave you guys alone, okay? Speak through the eyes of compassion and understanding, not anger and hate. I think that this is particularly when we are triggered. And also through yourself. I'm hearing this is through yourself with all of that energy here too. Speak up and be heard. Your opinions and truth has value. Oh, look, another thing about being nice to yourself. Watch your thoughts and how you speak to yourself. You deserve love from yourself too. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I want you to bathe yourself in love and compassion. And I really think that mirror work would be very beneficial. And so don't judge yourself. It may seem silly at first, like I said, but for the most part it's going to be very beneficial And it's almost sometimes like a fake it till you make it kind of thing. Like, you know, the more you keep doing it, the more you're like, okay, the more you start to actually embody it and actually start to believe it. What patterns do you need to release in order to get where you want to be? These came out, so we're just going to read them real fast. I'm not even really going to explain them, but 444, you are right where you need to be. I feel like somebody really needed to hear that. 777, you are magic, believe in miracles, you are one. And then difficult choices make wise people. Yeah, sometimes doing the hard thing is beneficial. Bottom of the deck, things aren't always what they seem. Take a step back and look at the bigger picture, or sometimes let it unfold for you. Most arguments are fueled by misunderstandings. Try to see both sides. Okay. That is it. Oh, one more thing though, about the difficult choices make wise people. Sometimes it can be easy to lean into our comfort. Sometimes it can be easy to lean into those escapism tendencies and things like that. And sometimes it can be easy to lean into our fears and our worries and our insecurities, if that's what we're used to. Sometimes, even though that's not what we want, it feels comfortable, okay? So sometimes we have to make that awareness hard choice of choosing the other option, because of choosing the other side, because that's what we actually want. Even in like a relationship, right? Say you're not getting treated the way that you feel you deserve, or it's just not what you feel you deserve or what you want, right? It could be easy to want to stay in that situation because the unknown is scary, but sometimes making the hard choice is what's best for you. And these are just examples, so take it how it resonates. But I am going to leave it here though, guys. I know I've been yapping. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to me yap. Thank you so much for the support. Even if it's just a simple like, hype, or thumbs up to the channel, that does wonders for me, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much to those who comment and share your love, share your support, share your energy, share your wisdom, share your thoughts, your knowledge, all of it. It's amazing. And it's just amazing what a community like we have built, and that we can build here on this little piece, a little slice of the internet. So grateful for that too. And I'm most grateful for my Vibrant Soul Tribe, which is my subscribers. Couldn't do without you. I love you guys. So yeah, hopefully I will see you guys in the next one, the next reading, or maybe if you're going to check out a past one, they are timeless. And if you're going to do neither, then maybe randomly I'll pop up on your homepage when you just need another reading. But who knows? Either way, I will see you there. Bye.